Oh, oh, um, oh, Sound and Color by Alabama Shakes. I love that song.
What's the first word that comes to mind when you hear the word love?
Family.
Home. Commitment.
Friendship, passion, warmth.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
Very nice.
I think love is what makes us all human. For me, it motivates me.
How do you express love?
Oh, wow.
When people show their love to me, like the most meaningful form of love is when they give me words of affirmation, they tell me that they love me. And so I like to do the same for my friends and the different people in my life that I love.
I mean, I think I'll choose myself. Like, I think I sometimes don't believe in the power of my own love. Like, I give love away freely so easily. Like I said, like, expressing my interest in another person and showing and seeing the potential that that other person can offer, say whether it's academic or in a romantic relationship or something, or in a career move. But for myself, I tend to not extend that love to myself. So I think that's where I've had a tension and a challenge in loving myself and believing in myself that I'm capable of doing that. And a phrase that I really love is, you know, if you like heard like the golden rule, like treat others as you want to be treated. But I love like be kind unto yourself as you are to others, because I think it firstly presumes that you treat others well already. So why don't we just like turn that around and treat ourselves well in the manner that we treat others?
I think there's a duty. I think there's a duty to make the other person feel loved. Because if they don't feel loved, then there's no point loving them. Because then, you know, it's superficial.
I don't know, I guess when people express love without expecting anything, or when they think I don't notice, like it's really like trivial. But then when I was little, I was sleeping and then my mom came in, but I was actually awake, and she like kissed my forehead and she was like, oh, you're asleep. But then it was like pretty sweet how she did that when she thought I was sleeping and like unconscious, so I couldn't hear it, but she still did it. So I was like, oh, she actually does love me.
So my family has had some struggles, but a couple months ago we sat down and had this conversation about my family history and what I've gone through, and it was just a very loving moment to connect with my parents and my siblings again after we have gone through what we've gone through. My parents had a particularly contentious divorce, and my mom ended up being in and out of hospitals and things like that, and my dad had never really talked about it, so that sort of drove our family apart. But we recently, like, we made it clear that we all still love each other and that we can work as a family together, and that was that was a big moment for me. It's okay.
When I first finished the semi-marathon, when I was 13 years old, I finished it, and then as soon as I crossed the line, I had all my friends, my mum, my everyone just there, and just all came and hugged me, and it was very sweet.
I was teaching a class on Black queer ethics, and we were learning about like coalition building, and we were learning about like, you know, reading like queer theory and like all these things about like how to be a great, like, not like ally, but just like, I don't know, we were just learning about how to treat one another well, I guess. And I got a note from my sister right after. Like, I had gone home last week, and I opened up a note from my sister, and it was literally like all the things about like listening well and like you know, kind of about like sight and vision and like how, you know, I taught like just different things. Like, it just hit all the different things of that class was reflected in that note, and I was like, wow, I feel very understood right now. And so I think that was a very special moment for me, even though she hadn't taken that class. But I think it was cool, and it seemed like it was a sacred moment that it was reflected to me in that note.
I have friends that are long distance, that the only reason that we're friends is because we text each other all the time. I think that like is a testament to the fact that words really do matter, and when you spend that time to invest and talk, you can still have a strong relationship that way as well.
Well, I have this, like, one of my best friends lives not too far away from me. She's like 2-ish hours away. But she is, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like very self-destructive. And it's very hard to see her put herself through things that I know are hurting her, and almost being powerless to do anything because I'm just not there to help her. And obviously, like, we talked on the phone, and I like made sure that she was like doing well via message and text, but it comes to a point where you want to help them as much as possible, and I wanted to help her as much as possible, but it was hard to kind of carry the load in loving someone when they didn't love themselves. Like, it's incredibly hard to like kind of be responsible for their happiness when they weren't even looking out for that themselves, and that almost caused like the end of our relationship probably. But I got into contact with some of like our mutual friends who I'm still pretty close with, and she got into a better place and was able to accept herself better, and I was, I'm gonna see her in like 2 weeks, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Do you believe in soulmates?
Yes and no.
Always, yes. And they don't necessarily have to be romantic. And I think, yeah.
Actually, my worst fear in life is to meet my soulmate and I realize she's my soulmate. I think that we have someone made in a different mold, in the same mold, but a different place. And it's our duty in life to find her and to make life and grow with her. I just scared that I'll meet her at the airport and just wave at her and that'll be it.
I mean, I think that the idea of soulmates is like not only crazy, but is like a deeply confused way of even thinking about what is involved in loving someone. I mean, it makes it seem like, I think this is connected to the idea that as though like love is something that happens to you as opposed to love is something that you do. Like, love is something that we make with another person. Of course, when soulmates, typically means something like in a romantic partnership, I don't think that you can have a romantic partnership with just anybody. And I think that there are lots of people with whom it would be impossible, or at least it would go very badly if I tried to become romantically involved with. And so of course I think there aren't that many people who I would ever want to be with. But I think so much more of what I love about my relationship with my partner isn't something that like we found in one another, but something that we built together. My partner now, she is an academic, and we both hope to be professors, and we're both very keenly aware that this is going to be a real challenge that we have to face, about sort of, as academics will often call it, there's like a two-body problem of like how do you get these two people to wind up in the same place. I think both of us are really committed to finding a way to make that work together, where if one of us is in a position where we do need to make compromises about our career in order to be together, that's not a decision that like just that one person has to make. It's sort of like a decision that we'll make together, where it doesn't feel like I have to give up my career for her, so much as we decide together that in our relationship, her career might come first. or maybe we alternate or something like that. But whatever it is, and I think this happened when I was going to grad school, and it is happening now, that like it has to be, at least for me, it's very important that the decision be one that like comes out of the relationship itself.
I think, you know, you can imagine your life with anyone, and anyone who makes you happy, you could imagine a great future with them. So, yeah.
I had a boyfriend who cheated on me, and it was really hard for me because I loved him, and he said he loved me, but I knew that if he loved me, he would have never done that. And so that was like really tough for me because I realized that I loved him a lot more than he loved me, and the fact that I was, again, giving so much love and not receiving it back is like really, really painful.
Yeah, so like my first boyfriend, who was shitty, he, like, I was really insecure, I think, so I felt like I had to make sure he liked me. So like he kind of idealized the idea of me as a girlfriend, so I feel like I had to match that. So I would like constantly change who I was to like match that standard when I shouldn't have.
I've never let that happen because, you know, the first person that I'm loyal to is to myself, and I'm not saying that like in a weird way, but if I don't take care of myself first and preserve like my emotional, like, you know, just like personal integrity, then what am I?
A lot of it had to do with the fact that we each didn't know really who we wanted to be as individuals. And it was it was impossible to know how we wanted to be as partners when we didn't know who we wanted to be ourselves. And I think the realization that ultimately brought us to end the relationship was a realization that we needed to be alone to answer the question, who do I want to be? Because when we were trying to answer that question together, we weren't ever able to answer the question, who do I want to be? We could only answer the question, who should we be, or something like that.
And how has love changed you?
I think it is the openness that I've felt. It's just made me feel like a more complete person to know that there are people that love me and to know that I can love people. I think it's made me a more complete and more open person, certainly has helped with problems like anxiety, and it's really improved my relationship.
I guess it made me more thankful. For example, like my mom, she gave up her job as a professor to like raise me and my sister, and that was really selfless of her. So it makes me want to give back to like my kids and the people I love.
Well, you know, you learn. I think it's mostly because you know, we're quite young. The idea of maturity and self growth and just stupid things which you don't realize makes people sad.
What do you love most about YYGS?
Oh, the students. Oh. I mean it.
I love the people.
The people.
Meeting people who I never would have met.
The diversity.
The food here is definitely delicious.